Hello everyone, Amod here from the Target Common YouTube channel, and today we are going to learn another array based Java program. So in today's video we are going to learn how can we reverse an array in Java. So on screen you can see I have an array where we have 6 elements like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. This array is of length 6, and after reversing it's like 60, 50, 40, 30, 20 and 10. So it's very similar how we reverse a string, but instead of string here we have an array. So what is the simplest way to reverse an array? What we can do, we know the length of the array and we can start from the end, from this side, right? And we can have another array where we can feed it. Means we need to create another array of the same length, and we need to just start the reading the element from end from the first array and start putting from the beginning in the second array. That is one way. But here we need to get another array which will take extra memory, and this is also not expected solution for experienced guys in interviews. So what is the another way where we should not get any new array and the array should be reversed? So if you see the indexes, we know that indexes starts from 0 in array. So here we have the length is 6, but we indexing start from 0, so till 5 we have the elements, and after reversing we have this element. If you see this 10 which is at the first index, and we see the 60, right? So ideally this 10 should go to 60 and 60 should come to 10, swiping actually. Okay, so can we say that, okay, pick the first element and replace with the last one, or swap? Take the 10, put at place of 60, and take the 60 and put at the place of 10. Same thing can be applied for 20 and 50. Take the 20 from here and put the place of 50. Same thing, take the 50 and put it at the place of 20. Same thing goes for 30 and 40. So this is an array of even length. 6 is an even number. So how many times we need to do this process? We did actually one time, second time, third time. So in 3 times we reverse the array. Okay, 3 times we swap the element. That's why we got the reversed element here. You can see. So here's the logic I'm talking about. We are just swapping the elements, but we have the logic how and with whom we need to swap. First element with the last element, second element with the second last element, third element with the third last element, and so on. Okay, so we got the reversed array here. Or the first point, we need to understand how many times we need to do the same process. We did for 3 times. Remember, the length of this array is an even number, that is 6. Okay, so just for the record purpose, what I am writing here. Okay, so here I written length was 6 and we 3 times we repeated the process. Now let's consider an array where length is an odd number. So here I have an array whose size is an odd number. The size of this array is 3. So now we need to repeat the same process, means take the first element and swap with the last element. Take the second element and swap with the second last element. So let's apply the same concept in this array where we have only 3 elements, that is odd numbers. So okay, so for first element we can swap. 10 will be swapped with 30 and 30 will come at the place of 10. Okay, so this is done. But if you see for the second element, there is no element left to swap from, okay, or swap with. So in case of odd length array, the middle element will never be swapped because that will be the left element, because there is nothing or there is no place to swap with. That's why if you find an array with the odd length size, then middle element will be as it is, but we need to swap remaining elements. Okay, so what is the concept here? Again, let me write it here. So I have written length is 3 and how many times you repeated the process? 1 time. Okay, and for the even length was 6 and we repeated the process for 3 times. if you see here, 3 is the half of length. Okay, 3 is half of the 6 here. So if we do length by 2, right, so means we need to find a common formula, like till when or till what element we need to swap the elements. Means if we divide the length by 2, then the number of times we need to swap with. Same thing here, if you do 3 divided by 2, we'll get 1.5, and if you use the int, so it will be 1. So we need to iterate only one time. Okay, we are not changing 1.5 to 2. Okay, we are going lower, so 1.5 will be 1, and we need to repeat the process only one time. Suppose if we have 5 elements, so how many times we need to do? 2 times, because length is 5 divided by 2 will get 2.5, and 2.5 will be 2, and we need to repeat the process 2 times, because the third element will be the middle element, and that will not be swapped with any element. Okay, so this is the logic, and the same logic we are going to write in Java. In IntelliJ, I have already created one class called reverse an array, and I have already one input array where I have 6 elements. Let me start with the even number first. Okay, let me write the logic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another method like public, and I will use static because I don't want to create an object of this class to call this method. So public static void, and I will do reverse an array. Okay, and simply I will take one integer array. So what is the first thing I need to do? I need to find the length of the array. So now I need to find how many times I need to repeat the process. For that, what I need to do, I need to divide the length by 2. I have already explained the logic in diagram. Int. Now what I need to do, I need to repeat the process. For obviously for that I require the for loop. So I need to have a variable int I equal to 0, because array index start with 0, so it is better to start with 0 here. Then I less than count, and I plus plus. Now we need to write the logic to swap the element. So if you see the logic here, or what we are doing, we are picking the first element and we are placing at the last element, and same thing, last element will go at the first position. So for that, what I need to do, first I need to store this number. What I will do, I will create a new variable in temp, and I will store the value, right, to which I need to swap array of I. Okay, so this 10 I am storing into temp variable. Now what I'm going to do, we have already this element in the temp variable, so this index can be replaced with this element. So what I'm going to do, at this index I will put this element. So for that, array of I. Okay, and here what I will do, I will take the last element. So how to take the last element? We have array of length, right, last element, but length will be 6, but the index is 5. So what I'm going to do, length minus 1, so that I will get the 5th element. But since this process need to repeat for all the other elements, so what I'm going to need to do, I will subtract I also. So here first time I is 0 here, so 6 minus 1 minus 0, so we'll get 5. So this element will be replaced. Next time it will be 6 minus 1 minus 1, because next time I will be 1. So we'll get 6 minus 1 minus 1 means 6 minus 2 equal to 4. So we'll get this element. So this is the logic. This element has come here. So now what is the last thing? Third step. At this step I need to put the element which I store in the temp variable. So means array, same thing, length minus 1 minus I, and here I need to put the temp variable. Okay, so this is the logic. Now let's print the array and see whether my logic is correct or not. So what I'm going to do, I am simply going to write one print statement, and if you want to print the element of an array, we can use the arrays class, and here we have a method called toString, and just pass the array. Okay, and I will copy paste it will be after. But before this, what I need to do, I need to call this method. Now let me run the program. So here we can see it's reversed the array, right? Let me try with the odd length. Okay, so for this array also it's working fine. So for both even and odd, it's working fine. Okay, so if you see in this program, I didn't consider about the ACE scenarios, and covering and handling those scenarios in a program is a good practice. So here what might be the ACE scenario, that it is the length of the array might be 0 or 1. So we can simply write one condition here: if length equal to 0 or length equal to 1. In this case, no need to do anything, simply return. Because if there's no element, there's no meaning of reversing the array, and there's only one element, then if you reverse also, then it will be 10 only. So let me go and let me remove all the elements so that length of the element will be 0, and let me run the program. Okay, we can see it printing empty. If we have one element, then it will return and it will print the 10. Okay, and let me put the old elements like 30, 40 and 50, right? And for this scenario also it will work perfectly fine. So only thing you need to understand the logic. If you know the logic, you can write the program. So if you have any doubt, please comment on this video. If you really like my videos, please like, comment, subscribe and share with others. Thank you everyone.